another edition of Monday Morning Quarterback. Guys, I am on the way to an existing maintenance customer. I believe this customer has 2 gas boilers. About 2 or 3 years ago, we had to replace one of the 2 thermocouples in this boiler, but besides the thermocouple getting replaced, nothing else was done. Everything's been rocking and rolling so far. So today is just a general checkup just to make sure both boilers are cleaned out and ready to go. I am almost there right now. I'll see y'all when I get inside. Let's roll. Alright guys, here's the 2 Weil-McLains. I believe the second floor was the boiler that we replaced the thermocouple in about 3 years ago. But we're going to start with the second floor first. Let's take a look inside. I'll be back. Alright guys, this is the second floor boiler. What is this, 70,000? Yep, you see the input there, 70,000 BTU. Both of these are about the same size, 70,000 BTUs, and by the look of these things, I can tell they're at least 15 years old. This pump looks like it definitely got replaced within the past 5 years. And once again, this is the second floor. I looked at our notes back in 2022. This was a no heat call, and we had to replace the thermocouple here. But guys, these boilers are pretty simple to work on. You got your fan center, gas valves, limit switch. There is no damper that you have to deal with. All your controls are inside the cabinet here. No aquastat, nothing like that you have to really deal with. And essentially your fan center is going to be your circuit board. That's where your R and C from the transformer. That's where you'll test your 24 volts, and depending on what's going on, this is how you trace your power from your transformer out to where it needs to go. But guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take apart these burners and clean them. I'm curious as to how the other thermocouple looks on this first floor unit, but I'm doing the unit that's further in because I don't have a lot of space since the wall is here. I'm going to get this one done first, and then I'm going to check out the other one. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the burners. I'm going to test my limit, check my water pressure, and I got to go upstairs and check the radiators. I turned this on for about like 10 minutes, enough for the supply and return to get hot. But we also like checking radiators too on hot water boilers, just to make sure that we don't have to bleed any air from the radiators upstairs. But let's get to it. Let's start taking these burners out. I need both of my hands. Let me take these out. I'll be back. Guys, we got our burners out. It was a small amount of scale that came out the burners, but that's to be expected on older boilers. But guys, this is very important when you inspect burners on boilers. These are the burners that are typically longer than the burners you'll see on a furnace, and these are the ones that you can take out piece by piece. It's important to inspect both sides of the burner. The biggest thing you want to do, of course, make sure everything's clean. Make sure you see the slots here, make sure everything is clean. You don't want anything corroded with dirt or scale. You want to clean them with a hand rag, which is what I do, or get a brush. Make sure everything is clean, because any obstruction in the vents here will cause less flames on that particular burner, and less flames, you don't want any unburned gas to be building up in the boiler. That can be very, very dangerous. Second thing you want to do is inspect for any cracks or any signs of aggressive wear and tear. Now guys, this is very dangerous, and this is why this is important for customers to get maintenance done on these boilers. If your burners do crack, which could happen over time from wear and tear, If you have any additional holes in this burner besides the entry point where the gas is and the outlet point where you get flames on top, if you have cracks on the sides or the bottom of this burner, now you're gonna have flames shooting out your boiler, and this could damage the boiler itself and cause carbon monoxide to back up into the basement. And guys, this can be very, very dangerous. That's why anytime we see any burners covered in rust, like if they're not obviously gray like you see like the one in my hand, if the burners are suffering from excess wear and tear, we always recommend replacing these, because unfortunately guys, the customer won't know about any of this until after the gas company comes out from carbon monoxide problems, or even worse, you know, something could catch on fire. So better safe than sorry. Always inspect, and if it looks worse than expected, just recommend replacing a burner assembly. That's all. It's only 4 that come in a pack, and like I said guys, it's better safe than sorry. You don't want to guess wrong or not even check these, and now the customer has bigger issues to deal with. So, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a rag, and actually I'm gonna get my brush. I'm gonna get all that scale from underneath there before I put the burners back in. And guys, this is my limit switch. What is this set to? 190. I'm using my phone as the light here. Bear with me. I can't see what it's set to here. Hold on. I know that. Guys, you see this here? It's set to 180. That stop there prevents you from cranking this past 190. So it's actually set to 180. Cool. Alright. What I'm going to do is I'm going to crank that limit switch down after I fire this up to make sure that this thing still turns my burners off to avoid any overfiring. Let me get what I need. I'll be back. I tested my limit and look at the pressure. 10 psi. Both are sitting at 10. They're both about the same pressure. But what I'm gonna do, I got the burners off on this one. I gotta look at this thermocouple. But let me clean the burners real quick, and I'll turn this one back off. I'm gonna check the circulator pump for amps. This is a 007 pump. But before I check amps on this, I wanna clean the burners and take a look at this thermocouple. Let me get this squared away. I'll be back. Alright guys, this thermocouple on the first floor, of course it's not a spring chicken, but it doesn't look terrible. I do see some discolorment, but it's not really that extreme. I cleaned a little bit off, but it wasn't really anything that warrants me recommending replacing it now. But I'll definitely bring this up and show the customer the picture of that thermocouple and let them know. We definitely recommend replacing that thermocouple within the next year or 2. We'll keep an eye on it and of course inspect it. But with those thermocouples guys, unlike flame sensors you can clean them. You can try cleaning thermocouples, but once thermocouples go out, it's really no benefit in trying to keep it and clean it. We always just recommend replacing it, but it's best to be preventative and just replace that thermocouple before it starts to act up, because once these thermocouples go out, it's going to be on the coldest day of the year. So that's something you want to watch out for. But we got everything running. Let's check the circulator pump for amps. I'll be back. This is our 007 circulator, and look at the amps. 0.74. We're at a 0.71. So this is good. If we wasn't getting any amps at all, that would lead me to believe that this thing is in power, and that would be a totally different scenario, tracing back power. Also, if the amps were abnormally high, let's say if the amps were like 1.0 or 2.0 instead of 0.74, at that point, that would lead me to believe that the motor is burned out. So on these 007 pumps, this particular one being rated for 0.74, plus or minus 0.3 or 0.4 is permissible. I want to say if this pump is rated for 0.74, I'll take a 0.71 all the way up to like a 0.76 or a 0.77, give or take, but nothing too high. Like I said, most of the time it's going to be within 0.2 or 0.3. In this case, we're within that 0.3, but I never really seen that large of a difference without first this bull is showing signs of an issue. So like for instance, if the circulator pump wasn't working, my burners will fire up, but this unit will turn off on limit because we can't move any water without this circulator pump. So guys, if this pump was burned out or not working, for sure this definitely would have been a no heat scenario. But that's the purpose of the maintenance, is for you to get in tune with how parts are when they work. So if something does look out of the ordinary, you'll be able to compare and contrast versus what you've seen before by having so many units work fine. So guys, maintenances are important, not only for the customer but for you. You get to see a bunch of different components when everything's working fine, so you'll be able to tell that, hey, in the future, if I go on a no heat call and I check amps on this 007 circulator, if my amps are 2.0, that will be a red flag for you to say, hey, wait a minute, I checked 120 of these pumps and I always got a certain range of amps. Now this one is a 2.0. That could mean that something's going on with that pump. But there you have it. But let me put this cover back on. I'm gonna check the other one too on here. But let me check the other one and put the cover back on. I'll be back. And that's all she wrote, guys. Both supplies and returns are hot. I just gotta go upstairs and check the radiators and show the customer the picture of the thermocouple here, and that's all she wrote. But as of right now, both boilers are ready for the winter. We just have to keep an eye out on the thermocouple for the first floor area here. But both pumps are within range. Both are 007 pumps. This one was a 0.74, and I checked this one. This one's a 0.75, so they're both within 0.2 or 0.3 of what the pumps are rated for. So, but alright guys, there you have it. Let me clean up and go upstairs, check the radiators. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.